What if one of the most anticipated trade deals of the decade suddenly collapsed? And what if that failure pushed three of the world's most powerful nations into a surprising new alignment? This isn't a hypothetical scenario, it's the story of how shifting trade winds between the US and India are reshaping global alliances. Today we are diving into two connected events: the dream of massive US India trade pact and the simultaneous strengthening of ties between India, China, and Russia. How did one lead to the other? And what does this mean for the world? Just a short while ago, Washington and New Delhi were on the verge of what was being called a big beautiful trade agreement. The goal was incredibly ambitious: to more than double the trade between the two countries to an astounding $500 billion by 2030. In return, a deal could have supercharged India's export-driven industries and solidified its strategic partnership with the United States. Podcasts and analysts were buzzing with the potential for massive economic growth. Then everything changed. The deal stalled, and instead of cooperation, we saw confrontation. The US administration imposed a staggering 50% tariff on many Indian goods, rolled out in two phases in August 2025. Let's know the economic impact. The projections suggested a potential GDP loss of up to 0.5% and a drop in exports of 5 to 4 billion in the engineering sector alone. Some forecasts even predicted India's export to the US could plummet from around 86 billion to 50 billion. Let's get to know the sector-specific hits. Key Indian industries like textiles, gems, jewelry, and chemical and auto components faced a crisis, with their products suddenly becoming far more expensive in the American market. Now, competitive disadvantages. Indian companies found themselves at a major disadvantage compared to the competitors in countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh, who faced lower tariffs. The dream of $500 billion trade partnership had evaporated, replaced by a trade dispute that shook India's economy. Faced with economic pressure from the West, India began to look east. The US tariffs inadvertently pushed New Delhi to strengthen its relationship with the two other global powers, Russia and China. This has led to the arrival of the Russia, India, China or RIC trilateral group. Originally conceived decades ago, this alliance is now being seen as a strategic triangle designed to counterbalance US dominance on the world stage. In fact, the BRICS bloc, which includes these three nations, has openly condemned the US tariff as unilateral coercive measures that violates international trade rules. But India's strategy is more complex than simply switching sides. It's performing a delicate balancing act. While participating in SCO with Russia and China, India is also a key member of the Quad, a strategic alliance with the US, Japan, and Australia. This approach allows India to maintain what it calls strategic autonomy, keeping its options open and building partnership on all sides to serve its own national interests. And of course, this new Eastern alignment is not without its challenge. The biggest hurdle remains the deep-seated rivalry and border disputes between India and China. For years, these two Asian giants have been locked in a tense standoff. However, we are now seeing signs of a diplomatic reset. Leaders from both nations have recently made statements about being development partners and not rivals, suggesting a potential thaw in relations. This puts Russia in an interesting position. Traditionally a close defense partner with India, its own deepening alliance with China creates a complex dynamic. If India and China manage to resolve their differences directly, some analysts believe Russia's role as a regional mediator could be reduced. So what does this all mean? The collapse of the US-India trade deal wasn't just a failed negotiation. It was a catalyst. It triggered a chain reaction that is accelerating the shift from a US-centric world to a more multipolar one, where countries like India play multiple sides to their own advantages. The grand trade agreement may be off the table for now, but in its place, a new and a far more complex geopolitical game has begun. So what do you think about India's strategy? Is it a smart move to balance these global powers, or is it a risky game with unpredictable consequences? Let us know your thoughts in the comment below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the events shaping our world.